Let's go live on another bicycle live stream. Namaste. It's the second last day of May. What is it? The 30th of May. Sunday the 30th of May at 7:21 a.m. I've ridden 38 kilometres and I'm on the ride home now. I've ridden all the way to Emerald Lake. So nice morning for it. Coolish but quite bearable. It's a nice 17 degrees and it's a fairly quiet morning, not a lot of people out and about, just the way I like it. If I look tired, that's because I am. Okay. What I want to ask in this morning's live stream is there any hope for our future? Yesterday was Mum's birthday. She turned 81 and she had a lot of people wishing a happy birthday, phone calls, personal visits, and two of the ladies that came around have been family friends for decades. I've known them for decades. And I got talking to them individually. And we ended up having the same conversation. It's interesting how it went, how it sort of flowed in that direction. Not because I was pushing it in that direction, but because that's where their concerns were. And their concerns were about the future. And it was interesting because they were talking about how much change, they both lived on the coast a long time. They were talking about the changes they've seen locally, the changes that we're seeing globally. They were talking about the pandemic. Both of these ladies work in the health field, have been in the health field a long time. They're very well aware of what's happening. They work, one works in a hospital, and one works in a medical centre, and they're very well aware of what's happening, and they're concerned. They're extremely concerned. Both of them, amazingly, had the similar concerns because they're on the front line almost, seeing what's happening with this pandemic, and they both, although they're not religious or spiritual people, they both couldn't help but draw the conclusion that the pandemic has come about because of the way we're treating the planet and life. And I thought really interesting, without using the word karma, they were talking about karma. And I thought, this is really fascinating that they both had come to this conclusion. And, I brought up some points about, I said, do you remember Al Gore, decades ago warning us about the environmental destruction or the environmentally destructive path we are on? And they both said, oh, yes. I remember Al Gore and his inconvenient truth. And I said, wasn't he ahead of his time, And we just sort of looked back and said, God, in the last 50 years, the destruction that mankind has made to the environment, to the planet. Now, interestingly, neither of these women are vegan, not even vegetarian. So it is interesting that with all their concerns, they hadn't made this leap, or they weren't aware, despite their observations of the environmental destruction, like so many of us have, despite their seeing what's happening on the front line with people dying from the pandemic. Despite this, they weren't aware that the number one thing we can do to try and give us a hope at a livable future is to stop supporting animal agriculture, as it is a major contributor, or the major contributor, depending on the statistics you look at, to environmental destruction. And that environmental destruction that the animal agriculture industry is contributing to includes unsustainable land clearing at a rate that, as I say, is unsustainable worldwide. It includes pollution from waste products from the animal industry into the water board itself, into the ground. It includes airborne pollution, is also from the same industry. And not just airborne pollution that we're aware of, like methane and CO2 and so forth, but also people living near certain animal agriculture facilities have health problems because of the localised pollutants airborne from the feces and from the just basically the death that is literally in the air, if that's the best way of me describing it in a non-technical term. So we have these conversations, and one of the things that I brought up, I said, one of the reasons I said why I've never been in favour of having kids, and both these ladies have kids and grandkids. I said one of the reasons why I've never been in favour of it is I can't in good conscience look ahead another 50 years from now, me being in my 50s now, having a kid and that kid being in their 50s, if they could make it that far. I can't look ahead that far and put them into a future and a world that is dying rapidly. Now, I did remind them that 3 years ago the UN came out and said we have 12 years left until we reach an irreversible tipping point environmentally, so that by the year 2030 we will have reached a tipping point in which will mean that environmentally nothing we can do from that point onwards can reverse the damage that we will have created by then. So at that point, if we all just suddenly wake up and go, oh shit, we better do something about it, the UN has come out and said, well, it will be too late. The planet will be too diseased. You will not be able to cleanse it. And another thing that we all agreed on was that a major contributor is overpopulation, which is ironic because these ladies have kids. And it's another reason why I've decided long ago, when in my 20s, that I didn't want to have kids, was I didn't want to bring them into the world the way it is. I didn't want to contribute to overpopulation. And also, I've never considered myself personally, emotionally mature enough or stable enough to be the sort of parent a healthy kid needs. So anyway, knowing that the solution is always going to be a vegan solution, that we need to stop contributing to animal agriculture, we need to support ahimsa, compassion, in order to have some chance of a sustainable planet. I started thinking about, once again, how important it is to support those that are taking a massive risk in bringing out businesses that are cruelty-free, compassionate, vegan. The risk that business owners are taking to bring these businesses out, and the responsibility we have as ambassadors of compassion to support them as much as we can. So yesterday, yet another fully vegan business opened on the Gold Coast. Blue Morpho, what do they call themselves? Not a supermarket, but like a health food shop in Southport opened yesterday. The Blue Morpho, I don't know what it is, shop. Let's call it shop. I haven't got the exact word there that they're using to describe it. So they opened in Southport, and I start thinking, such a big risk for them to take. Now, in my vegan journey, back in the 80s, I did most of my shopping in health food stores, at one health food store, which was at the Pines, my local shopping centre. And I did that because vegan products, generally speaking, there was a very little of them available in supermarkets. And also, health food shops tended to... thanks for watching, Matt. I can see you watching. Health food shops tended to carry very little animal products. Well, let's say they had a lot of vegetarian products, mostly vegetarian products, and then a reasonable amount of vegan products. And what happened over the decades is, as they became businesses that wanted to make more money, they started catering to a wider percentage of the population. And I started to become very disappointed going to my local health food shop to see in the fridge, amongst the vegan yogurts and the early examples of vegan cheeses and stuff like that, there was animal products. There was animal sausages, and it started to get worse and worse. This really put me off. And thanks, Matt. I hope you have an amazing day too. And so yesterday, yet another enterprising business person or persons took it upon themselves to bring out a completely vegan shop in Southport, where you can go in and know that everything you're purchasing there is vegan and you're supporting a vegan business. And we should, if we want to have any chance at a sustainable future, we should be getting on board and supporting them as much as possible. For me, I wish if they were closer, yes, I'd be happily in there all the time. I don't, Southport's a little bit of a distance away for me. It's like 45 minutes if I get a good run. But beside that, that's not the point. So that was one business. And then yesterday I took my mum to Liv's fully vegan beauty salon in Currumbin, called the Living Skin Clinic. And I took my mum there. She had a facial and manicure and a pedicure, and she felt great afterwards. She felt very relaxed. And it got me thinking that Liv has taken a huge risk to go into this industry on the Gold Coast, where there are plenty of competitors doing a similar thing, but doing it with products that aren't cruelty-free. So she's taken a huge risk. And the question is, who's going to support her? We have to set an example as vegans and support these cruelty-free enterprises and say, yeah, I might go out of my way another 5 or 10 minutes to go to the Living Skin Clinic to get whatever beauty treatment it is that I would normally get somewhere else at a place that has products that are tested on animals and contain animal ingredients. I'm going to go to the Living Skin Clinic because I know I'm supporting someone who is contributing to a better future for us all. So then that got me thinking about some of the pioneers here on the coast. At Mermaid, Tian Ran, who have been fully vegan restaurant for, let's see if I remember correctly now, 22 years I think it is now. And, one of the pioneer of fully vegan eateries on the Gold Coast. Open 7 days a week, lunch and dinner. Food is always good. The prices are always good. Always consistently good service. Food comes out fast. We've had quite a number of lunches and dinners there for my Vegan Life group. And, again, if we want to have some chance at a sustainable future, we need to stop thinking it's okay to support places that still contribute to cruelty and start supporting these places that have made an effort to lay the foundation for a healthier, more compassionate, sustainable world. Also, of course, we have now every second Sunday of the month, we have the Gold Coast Vegan Markets at Southport, an extension of the Brisbane Vegan Markets, which have been going for about 4 or 5 years, I think now. Again, rather than go to your local farmers market, which, has in amongst, the organic fruit and veg, unfortunately has, many examples of death. Rather than go there, if you can get the same products that you get at your farmers market at the Gold Coast vegan markets, why wouldn't you support it? If it's in your area, if it's the same level of convenience to get there, why wouldn't you support it? There is absolutely no reason. As a vegan, you can't stand up and say, oh, well, it's the same distance away for me to get to, and it's got the same products, and it's cruelty free, but I'm going to go to the place that still has the cruelty. See, that is a conscious decision that makes no sense and is a very sad reflection on how we think and operate if that's the decision that we make. And so you've got those markets. We've got next Saturday, we're going to have the Gold Coast Vegan Festival, the first one at Nerang on Saturday. I'll be there helping the Animal Justice Party. And again, we should make an effort to go there, support them, make them successful. This has been my strategy, and the reason why, one of the reasons why, you'll see that people say to me, God, you eat out a lot. Yes, I want it. I feel a, what's the word? Not so much a right, but not a necessity. I guess I feel it's my duty. That's the word I'm looking for. I feel it's my duty to support these places that are doing their best to create the vegan world we want to live in. And this started with Tian Ran on the coast when it comes to vegan eateries, and then it gained momentum when Mandela's came on board as a fully vegan place. And then, in recent times, it reinvented itself when Greenhouse opened in 2014 at Kira. They were taking, again, a risk to be completely cruelty free. See, they weren't using these excuses that some of these businesses are using today, where they say, oh, we're plant-based, which means that gives us an out. We can decide to still have dairy under the counter. We can still decide to have honey. We can still have animal products and contribute to suffering and cruelty because we've called ourselves plant-based. It's like, okay, so you're really not helping. How are you helping? You are setting an example that it's okay to say you're helping the planet, but still contribute to animal suffering. That's not helping. So, winding up, let's do our best to seek out those vegan entrepreneurs that want to create a vegan world. Let's support them. Let's go in and say, God, I love the fact that your business is fully vegan. I love it. I love what you're doing. I endorse it 100%. I'll support it on social media. I'll tell my friends about it in person. This is the way that we have a chance at a sustainable future, rather than staying in a cycle where we continue to support the industry that is killing the planet. So, thank you for listening. Have a great day. Live vegan and save lives. Ahimsa.